Why, hi there, you guys. Welcome to another Wednesday Facebook Live. I am Christina Heideck. I am the woman behind PTO Answers, and also I am the fabulous host of the PTA and PTO Superstar Leaders group. And I just want to go ahead and just give me 1 second. I'm going to share this video into the group. I tried to, as you know, if you were watching me last week, I tried to get all fancy with some software and it totally did not work. It was really laggy. And so until I can figure that out, we're going to do this the old school way. So just give me 1 second because I'm super bad at multitasking, this kind of stuff. So there we go. I think I'm good now. All righty. So for the last couple weeks, we've been talking about fundraising in 2018 and what's new and what's different and what you should be doing just to adapt to what's kind of going on, right? That's how you stay fresh and current and earn lots of money for your group, right? So I think the first week we talked about what's generally working in 2018 and what maybe you need to leave behind. And then I also talked about last week, how to pick good fundraising incentives and prizes and what, what mistakes to avoid. So today I kind of wanted to continue on that same path of talking about fundraising, but we're going to talk about kind of the negative side of fundraising too, because not everything that I have tried as a fundraising chair or as a PTO leader has certainly worked. And I thought that other people might have the same issue and that they would appreciate hearing okay, then what? You didn't reach your goal, then what? How to come back from that. So the first thing I want to do is just give out a shout out to the PTA and PTO Superstar Leaders group. If you're not a member of that group, well, let me just tell you, you're missing out. You just on the camaraderie and all of the fantastic ideas. So you can get to that group by searching for PTA PTO Superstar Leaders, or I wrote down the little. I wrote it down to be all organized, and then I flipped my binder or my planner to a new page. So see how well together I am today. All right, so the short code for it is bit.ly/PTO leaders. How easy is that? I don't know why I can't remember that, but probably because I'm trying to do too much. Who can relate to that? You should type in, I guess, give me a 1 if you can totally relate to trying to do too much. That would be... I don't know who is a PTO leader who can't relate. So I guess it's kind of a dumb question, but you're going to humor me. So, okay. So if you're not a member of that group, go join now. There's over 3,000 members in the group, which is awesome. All right. So Karen is feeling it with the feeling like she's doing too much. So yeah, Karen and I are cut from the same cloth. I think a lot of us are, but okay, so what happens if you don't meet your fundraising goal? There's so much planning and preparation that goes into fundraising and so many different pieces, parts that all have to kind of come together. It's kind of like a car. I don't know how much you guys know about cars, and it's slightly off topic, but bear with me. But there's a gajillion and one parts in a car. And if one is slightly mismachined or is slightly out of whack, then the whole car literally breaks down and it won't run. And PTO fundraising, it's kind of the same thing. We don't have a gajillion parts, but there are like 20 or so different parts, because you have the whole selecting the right fundraiser. You have making sure that the fundraiser that you go with has the right representative, right? That can get kids really excited, but also presents information in an organized way to you so that you can present it to your school staff and teachers and administration and parents so they understand what's involved. And then you have the whole timing of the fundraiser. If you're doing fundraising at the wrong time, then that can be a huge a huge part in your success or failure. Like you don't want to be selling, for example, maybe chocolate right after Christmas. Like that would be a bad decision because a lot of people make a New Year's resolution to lose weight. So you don't want to be putting that temptation right in front of them. Some people might give in, but far more are going to be like, I'm still going to stick with my New Year's resolution a little bit and support the school a different way. So you're going to lose out on those sales. You also have the publicity of the fundraiser. Like you can't just send forms home and hope for the best. You have to remind parents. You have to remind students. You have to incentivize parents and students in the right way. And then, like even the pickup day can matter. Like if or the day of the event or whatever. Like if you're offering donuts and for sale, like I know a lot of groups do the Krispy Kreme donut fundraiser, which is like an awesome idea. But if like people can't come and pick up the donuts, then donuts are not going to hold, right? They're just like that. So you might have lower participation depending on when you choose the pickup time or delivery date. So all of those things can really affect your fundraiser. And so you have to be really super mindful of those things. So maybe I should test the waters here with you guys and see like how many of you guys have ever had a fundraiser that didn't go as well as you expected it to. So if you can relate to that, why don't you just go in and say, I relate or something like that. Because I think it's happened to almost all of us. I know it happened to me the one year I was fundraising chair, and it's happened to me is when I was like a leader in the group to like other fundraising chairs for a variety of reasons. And maybe let's go into some of those reasons. Like when the year that I was fundraising chair and I picked a really big fundraiser, I think it was just like kind of due to the economy. It was right about 2008 or 2009. So no, that can't be right. Anyway, it was about 6 years ago, but it was still during like a tenuous economic period. So I attribute it to that. And then this last time with another PTA, the fundraiser totally did not do well because the fundraising chair did not do her job. Like she flat out didn't care. And we had to take drastic actions as a PTA to remedy that. And that's kind of what I want to get into, like how to come back from it. So that was not a particularly fun year. Oh, so Karen's experience this. So awesome, Karen. I'm glad I can hopefully help you out on the other side of this. So, okay, what can you do if your fundraiser totally fails or even maybe partially fails? It just isn't quite what you want. Okay, the first and most obvious thing you can do is cry. I mean, we've all been there. I've totally cried about PTA stuff. I am not lying at all. Not ashamed to admit it. Very passionate about this. I give a lot of my time and energy. And when it's disappointing, sometimes I just cry. That's the easiest thing to do. Okay, but that's not going to serve us long term. So after you stop crying, you can pull yourself together and you can get with your executive board and you can talk about slashing your budget. That is also no fun. I had to do that again. I think it was like 3 years ago with the fundraising chair who just like didn't care. She sat there as we all talked about how to scrimp and how to save just so we could do something for the kids, because I think our goal was something close to, let's say it was about $10,000 and she brought in about 3. Like we netted 3. It's not even close. And she didn't even make plans to do something else and then I don't know what her deal was. I think she just like didn't want to ask for help. And so she tried to do it all herself and it wasn't successful at all. So that's not a good option, is cutting back on your budget. But sometimes it needs to be done. You got to see where the extra fat is in your group, where you have extra room, and just like make it work for a year. And then the next year regroup and plan to change a heck of a lot, which is what that group did. And the next year we were very successful. We've been successful the next 2 years after that. So actually 3 years, I think, after that. So it's been good. You need to reevaluate your priorities as a PTA or PTO, and that kind of goes along with your budget. Like you're going to put your money for your group where your efforts and your priorities are. Maybe it's possible to swap out events and like rethink events and scale back events. None of these things are fun, but like fundraising is so integral to like the whole essence of being a PTA and a PTO, that that's how we get our money to do things. You might have to schedule another fundraiser. That's what we did for the second group with the very ineffective fundraising chair. The president just kind of took it on herself because the fundraising chair had no interest in helping anymore for whatever reason. And so the president took it on, and we all supported the president because we're like, I want my kid to have an assembly this year. I want my kid to have, you know, all the extra things that the PTOs do. And I want the teachers to have mini grants. And I like wanted all those things. So we rallied behind the president and we raised a little bit of extra money. Again, not as much as we had hoped, because if it's in the like plan from the get-go, usually fundraisers are far more effective than if they're just kind of slapped together on the fly. So just be wary of those things. The other thing you might want to consider, if your like product sales fundraisers haven't been doing so well, maybe you for sure need to look at like switching up like what you're doing, work with a different company, make sure that the products are like appeal to everybody, but maybe look at some passive options too, like a pencil machine or a sticker machine, or I will say concessions. This is not low effort. It's what my 7th and 8th grade building did this year, because the parents just don't like to participate in fundraisers. So we just sell food to their kids at the basketball and wrestling matches. So that seemed to work. Didn't bring in nearly the same amount of money, but it was a good solution for that small PTO. So that was good. So yeah, I just wanted to give you some alternatives to like what you should do. Definitely, if you have a fundraiser that didn't work and you think it's because it's the fundraising chair, you need to have a talk with them. And if they are still interested in serving, if you think that it wasn't actually due to their like not doing their job, that it was just like circumstances, right? That the economy was bad or something happened that was out of their control, get them a buddy. Almost everybody can work better with a buddy. And that's what we ended up doing for the one group that had the really miserable results, where we only earned 30% of what the goal was for the year. She still wanted to stick around, even though she didn't do anything for the whole rest of that one year when she didn't meet her goal. But we got her a buddy, and we got her a buddy that would like kind of take charge and really lead it. And that's really why we were successful, is because we had the right person in place there to support her. So don't like knock somebody out of their job, but also don't be afraid to suggest, be like, hey, do you want some help with this? Or we thought I think you'd be better with a buddy, like get a buddy. And that's a nicer way rather than just flat out firing somebody. And I know I've talked about firing volunteers before. Yeah, so that's just another way, is the buddy. I don't know that I suggested that in the past. So I want to just ask before I wrap up, this is another really short one. If you have any questions, go ahead and pop it in the comments. I do want to continue this conversation in the PTA PTO Superstar Leaders group. So if you don't get a chance to ask a question here before I wrap up, then I'll jump in the group and hang out for a little bit. And then I also wanted to mention that if you really feel like you need some help pulling all the various pieces together, then you should for sure check out the fabulous fundraising guide that I've put together. So, and we'll talk about more of this. I'll go into more detail next week, but I just thought if you really are having some issues with it, then go check it out. It will totally help you with your fundraising. You can check it out at bit.ly / Fab Fundraiser. So it's Fab as in like Fab for the Beatles, FAB Fundraiser. So go check that out. And again, let me know if you have any other questions, and we'll go into more of what that guide is next week. But I thought I just, mentioned it here. If you really need help pulling those pieces together, then that's going to be the solution for you. So, all right, I'm going to go pop into the group, and I will see you here next week again about 1 p.m. 1 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. So the 14th. How is it the middle of February already? This is crazy. Anyway, I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.